Ragin Cajuns named Ben Wooldridge starting quarterback. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right. Sorry we missed yesterday's episode. The move is continuing, and for the time being, we're doing the stand-up model. It is what it is. So the Cajuns, unsurprisingly, named Ben Wooldridge starting quarterback. Kind of saw that coming. After the first week or so, Mike Desimo said, and we discussed it on an earlier episode, they came out of camp and they were tied, and all of a sudden the last few days, Ben Wooldridge has, played better, and we never heard any different. I wasn't the biggest fan of the way Mike Desimo handled it. Couple of things. First of all, you don't have to tell everybody that you made the decision, right? You sort of told on yourself, and then you said, I know who I'm going with, but I'm not telling anybody. So I guess previously he had done that, or it gotten out before he could tell everybody. Now, this was last Wednesday or Thursday, and it got out today before the press conference. Again, I would think by now everybody knew. And when I mean everybody, the two quarterbacks, Ben and Chandler, and the team. I certainly wouldn't have said it's none of your business, because the fans want to know who the starting quarterback is. So some fans may want to know who the starting right guard is, but most fans want to know who the quarterback is. And maybe he had made his decision, right before last week's press conference, and didn't want to, hadn't told anybody yet. I don't know. So again, I wouldn't have handled it that way, because when you tell people it's none of your business, I don't think that comes off as the right tone that you want to have. As far as the two quarterbacks, again, I just think Ben has a higher ceiling. He's a bigger guy. Now he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And again, kudos to Chandler Fields if he actually, sticks around. I presume he always thought this was a possibility that this would happen. Ben hasn't been able to stay healthy all, the whole time he's been at UL. So be ready to come in. And again, last year when Zion got hurt, he completed like a 3rd and 14 for first down. Now he threw an interception later on on the drive, but nonetheless, you got to go in there and get it going. Zion did that when Ben went down last year, and Chandler did it when Zion went down. So it is Ben Wooldridge. They're getting Grambling at home. The Cajuns are getting Grambling at home. Not sold out when you got half the stadium to sell. It is, everyone's going to be in the sun, but I still don't think the game starts until 7 p.m. So they'll be as cool as possible, I guess, for a game that's still starting when the sun is up. On a side note, Zion Chris was named the backup at Houston. Again, when people leave to go into the portal, is it for playing time? Is it for money? Is it for both? Is it for neither? I don't think there's any doubt that Zion Chris would have been the starting quarterback for the Ragin Cajuns. Regardless, only injuries would have stopped him, is what I was going to try to say. Only injuries would have stopped him. But he goes to Houston, and now he is going to play backup, which is what we kind of saw coming, because there was already somebody there. Now you get the new coach, but we do wish Zion all the best. But there's plenty of examples where, especially with Cajuns athletes, that it hasn't actually worked out just yet. Now, Amos, the cornerback who went to Alabama, maybe it didn't work out there, but it may be working out at Ole Miss this year. So hopefully it does, as the case. All right, so the Cajuns getting Grambling, and then Kennesaw State, and then Tulane, and then Wake. And you can really set the tone, prior to October 1st. Can you start out 2-0? You get Tulane at home. John Summerall's got a little bit of an advantage because he knows your personnel, and the Cajuns are one of the few teams that, they lost a couple of key guys, but not a whole lot, and they didn't bring in a whole lot. So he knows your guys. Cajuns may not be quite as familiar with Tulane as John Summerall is familiar with the Cajuns, although the Cajuns are familiar, obviously, with John Summerall. So we'll see how that goes for the Cajuns. Can Ben stay healthy, for a lot of the season? And, he didn't start a couple years ago, right? Chandler Fields started, and then Ben came in after Chandler got hurt. Then Ben got hurt. Chandler was a sacrificial lamb against Florida State, which I don't think he played too poorly. And then everybody got hurt, right? Ben was hurt, and then Chandler had an appendectomy, and Zion got all the reps. Although he was not the starting quarterback coming out of camp last year, he certainly played extremely well for the Cajuns and led them to, a few exciting victories. That's for sure. All right, let's take a timeout. When we do, we'll come back, and you got some coaches that are not ready to name their starting quarterback. We may get one later today in Georgia State, but they don't. Very, very secretive who the starting quarterback is these days. We will do that when we come back after I tell you about 5 Hour Energy. Now I got a new gig. It is something completely different. Although I am talking all day long. I'm on my feet all day as a sportscaster, as a sports talk show host, or a baseball announcer. Most of my job was sitting, getting ready for the broadcast, or even selling. And I'm just sitting on the phone all day long, literally sitting. Now I am on my feet, walking around, and I need a boost sometimes. I can't not be as enthusiastic as I like to be, and tail off towards the end of the day, because the people coming to see me want to have the same experience as the people that came to see me earlier in the day. So I'm a big fan of 5 Hour Energy. I do use it a lot. With zero sugar and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. The 5 Hour Energy website has flavors galore, like watermelon, tropical burst, grape, berry, and more. There's a flavor for everyone. Try them all. On the site, you even have the option to build your own 12 or 24 pack. You can choose the flavors, and it's delivered right to your door. 5 Hour Energy is the brand hardworking people like you have trusted for over 20 years to give them the alert, energized feeling they need to get through a busy, hectic day. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5energy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy product today. Use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB, Locked On College Football, Locked On CFB, to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th, and on one order, and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Bob Chesney with JMU, not naming a starter. He's got Dylan Morris, and he's got Dylan Morris, and still isn't naming, and Alonzo Barnett, still not naming a starter there. I don't think my guy Will Hall, although he says he knows who the starter is going to be, he's not going to announce it. I don't believe he did. Or maybe he did. No, he did not. So far, Will Hall went the way so many others are doing. Tate Rodemaker and Ethan Crawford listed as starters with an or on their names or on the depth chart. So we're getting a lot of that this go around. We may find out who the Georgia State starter is come later this morning or when Del McGee meets with the media. Still trying to get him on the show. But it does not appear that JMU or Southern Miss are going to name their starters prior to the game. I'm not sure there's a sense of anyone is more paranoid in the world than college football coaches. Clemson isn't putting out a depth chart. And Georgia, in kind, did the same thing. So Georgia isn't putting out a depth chart because Clemson isn't, and Marshall's not putting out a depth chart either. I don't know if the broadcasters get a depth chart because that's usually where the broadcasters get their information from so they can prep. They may get one from the coaching staff because they got a job to do. They can't release any of the information that they get. I don't get it. Maybe there's a difference between Tate Rodemaker, and an Ethan Crawford. Ethan maybe a little bit more of a running QB than Tate. Well, then Rodemaker get hurt running. But like when it's Ben Wooldridge or Chandler Fields, what are we going to do? Get Chandler on the run more often and not trying to run, but I'm like rolling out more because he's a smaller guy. I don't know. I don't think a lot of this offense changes. South Alabama may have to have a big change because if you're going from a lefty quarterback to a right-handed quarterback, that may change more than a couple of things. So that's a thing. But I don't get the whole, we're not naming our quarterback. How long does that change? What is it? A couple of plays at the beginning of the game? Now that, may make the difference. I'm not saying let's give away some plays, just to give it away, but it feels like it's overtly and unnecessarily secretive who the starters are, right? You're going to tell us who the starting left tackle is. I don't know. It seems I find it humorous. I'm not sure that it matters all that much. Georgia Southern did name J.C. French late last week and as their starting quarterback. And that came down to good decisions and not turning the ball over. And that's exactly what has held Georgia Southern back the last couple of years. Just way too many interceptions from the two transfers that came in the last couple of years. So, you don't want, you can't be turning the ball over as consistently as Georgia Southern does and expect to win. We've mentioned that with Georgia Southern, right? Cut down those turnovers. The defense cut down on a score, and all of a sudden, you can win 24-21, 28-24. You don't have to throw it around to get 35 or 42 points or something along that line in that ballpark. And then, of course, you're going to get interceptions, of course. So we had the Georgia Southern broadcaster on saying, they pass it a lot. You're going to get balls tipped. You're going to get interceptions. But that's the point. You got to, if you play better defense and not turn the ball over, then the offense doesn't have to be as risk taking and, can put it on the ground, run the ball a little bit more, not put the ball on the ground. So we'll see. I did have, let me see, we tweeted with Noah Ferry, formerly of the Sunbelt podcast. Let me see here. Because I think I had them written down, but we thought we knew all the quarterbacks, and we didn't. Although think the Georgia Southern one caught some of us by surprise. But let's see if we got this here. Sorry to be doing this in now, but I had it before. No. Oh, there we go. Yeah, even are we still waiting for even Coastal Carolina, Ethan Vasco? No. Noah on the 20th. All these teams had not made their decision. Technically, Coastal, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, James Madison, Marshall, Old Dominion had Grant Wilson. We know that. Cajuns hadn't. Southern Miss hadn't. ULM hadn't. We did get. I'm not sure if we get. Oh, we did get ULM. I think right. We did get ULM. Did we? I'll check that out. Let me see. A lot going on. So, yeah, I mean, Shane Metlin covers JMU. JMU Coastal declined to name a starting quarterback. It's a thing. It is absolutely a thing. I find it funny. I mean, they obviously have their starting quarterback, right? Because you got to get ready for the games. You got to get ready for the games. All right, let's take one more timeout. And the big ball game this past weekend was Georgia Tech and Florida State. And Georgia Tech with a big upset. Is it a letdown hosting Georgia State on Saturday? We'll talk about that when we get back. Let me tell you about College GM. Hey, Locked On Sunbelt fans. I want to take a moment to give you a heads up on a brand new mobile game that I think you're going to love as much as I do. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. In this amazing game and simulation, you get to step into the shoes of a head coach and lead your college football program to glory. Can you imagine actually being the head coach of App State? From recruiting players and hiring coaching staff to overseeing training camps and handling school scholarships, you control every crucial detail of your program. It's all in your hands. We'll be able to handle the pressure. And here's what I really love about the game. You are responsible for calling offensive plays during the game. Your strategy will not only determine the success of your football season, but will shape the future and legacy of your program. Ultimate College Football HC is completely free, has no ads, and is 100% playable offline. You can play on the go as you want and when you want to. And of course, we have a special offer for Locked On Sunbelt fans. Use promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. Make sure to take advantage of this perk as it will get your team off to a strong start. To download the game, just visit ultimate-cfb.com, ultimate-cfb.com, or look it up on the app stores. Ultimate College Football HC. Begin your coaching legacy today. And Ibotta. It is school time. We've already got a lot of the country in school. Some are not going until a little bit later on, but it is time to get those school supplies, and Ibotta can help you out with that. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, toys, and those school supplies. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. But with Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. It's time you join the over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta by using code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We'll start to preview the week of games coming up and a huge opportunity. Obviously, we've been looking at App State and Clemson and Texas State and Arizona State, but Georgia State starting with the Power Five like ODU is. ODU going to Columbia, taking on South Carolina. Georgia State's taking a bus to Georgia Tech. What is it? Downtown versus Uptown. Is that what I saw our guys over there? 24/7 Sports Ben Moore doing. This has got letdown game written all over it if you're Tech, right? You went to Ireland, you beat Florida State. You're a huge favorite against, the in-city school, and already looking ahead probably to their next game. The only way that Georgia State is going to be able to hang, all right, and there is good and bad in both of this, right? Georgia State has film on Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech has no film on Georgia State. That's A. They do say you improve the most between week 1 and week 2. So Georgia Tech has a game under their belt. Georgia State doesn't. So they've already gone and can maybe work out some kinks, whatever they may be. Obviously, Georgia Tech was able to really pound the football against Florida State and stop the run. Can Georgia State do any of that? Can they run the football, and will they be able to stop Georgia Tech from running the football? It's a big opportunity. Del McGee in his first game as a collegiate coach, again, not leaving the city again. It's such a huge advantage for Georgia State. Their first 5 games are in Atlanta. Forget at home. They're just in Atlanta. Not leaving until mid-October. They are playing technically on the road at Georgia Tech this weekend. But again, that will be nothing more than a bus ride on Saturday. We don't know who the quarterback is, not yet. We may find that out. I think Del McGee's meeting with the media later today. So a lot of people do it on a Monday. I think he does it on Tuesday. So we'll find out potentially who the new quarterback is and how Georgia State's going to play. We don't really know, with all the turnover that Georgia State had and with ULM having, what are we expecting from them? We have other new coaches, with, Bob Chesney at JMU and Jared Parker at Troy. Those two schools have had a lot of talent the last couple of years. Not so much ULM. And, Sean Elliott decided he wanted to be near his family and not be the head coach. Was very happy making a solid 6-figure salary and being the tight ends coach and sticking at home. So hopefully he's doing well. We wish him all the best. That's for sure. It's going to obviously be tough to pick Georgia State in this game. Excuse me. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Georgia State gets off to a good start. Remember, Florida State and Georgia Tech both got off to good starts offensively and then didn't do much of anything. Although trying to figure out, did not watch the game, was working. Trying to figure out how, Georgia Tech, with the offense and their defense, didn't score more points. I didn't turn the ball over. And averaging, when I saw at the beginning of the fourth quarter, the average was like 6 yards a run. No. I don't know what happened there, but great opportunity for Georgia State. I know there's no more victories in college football, but boy, if somehow Georgia State makes this game close, because then it gets you pumped up and jacked and ready to go the next week and the next week and into the Sun Belt. Now, be interesting to see if we can see something. Obviously, this coaching staff is brand new. They got to work out the kinks. It'll be interesting to see how this works out. Great opportunity for State. We'll see if Tech has a little bit of a letdown, because obviously it is a perfect game for a letdown. You come up with a big, huge win over, a conference foe, and now you're getting, I don't know even if it's considered little brother in Atlanta, but I guess the one thing that they would have prepared for them is, how everybody thought that Florida State was going to win. Now everybody says the same thing about us. So don't think you've done anything just because you beat Florida State. That would be what I would use. Everybody thought Florida State was going to win. We had no shot. Well, let's see what happens if we're tied at half against Georgia State. That'd be the motivation I'd be using if I was Tech. Yeah. Don't get flat-footed just because we've won a football game on a last-second field goal in the game that really could have gone either way. All right, we'll obviously do predictions. We got a Thursday night game. Coastal's open up on Thursday. We're not going to get to the 1,500. Hopefully we get to 1,400 anyway. But I do appreciate it. I think we'll get to 1,500 rather quickly. It just won't be by August 31st. Oh, well, not too bad. I do appreciate it, guys. Really looking forward to the season. It is going to be interesting. I admit that. I will have to, I don't want to say put more effort into it, but it'll be a different kind of effort that I'm not around all day on Saturday watching the games. I'm doing something else, but I will catch as much as I can, and we'll be raring to go to preview the games and to recap them and preview everything that goes on and have a good time this season, because I'm looking forward to it. It could be a fantastic season. We'll see if there's some prizes, and we'll see if App State and Texas State live up to the hype. All right. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Dave Schultz, and you've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.